You need to get out of here. And I left everything. Didn't say anything. Didn't tell my wife. Didn't say anything to the kids. I mean, they're grown now, but I didn't say anything. I left. I walked away.
Hey, attorney. I want to introduce you to someone named Scott. He grew up in a military family, learned discipline early, but somewhere along the way, life got heavy.
I'm gonna die. I think I'm gonna die.
He turned to darkness, and darkness turned on him.
And it started there with the pain pills. As soon as I had that, it was like, I remember that moment of, man, I could feel like this the rest of my life.
And for a while, he nearly lost himself. But somehow, all that noise, he found a way back. Not to perfection, but to peace. This isn't a feel-good success story. It's real life. Messy, honest, human.
I'm just not violent. I'm not mean. I've never, intentionally tried to hurt anybody, really. It's never been that way.
Some parts are hard to hear. Some will make you stop and think.
Addiction took all that away. The reason I came here, I'll say God because it's the most used term. My beliefs, I don't ask anybody to believe like I believe. I don't.
But if you've ever felt lost or angry or just plain tired of carrying everyone's weight, you'll hear a piece of yourself in what he shares. He is telling this story because he thinks stories like this don't just change people, they save them. And here it is.
My name is Scott Adams. My reason for doing this is to hopefully give some inspiration, hope, and some, maybe it'll spur something in someone to help make humanity better. I mean, that's the whole reason. So I was the boy of a military family. So my father was a Marine. My grandfather was in the Air Force. My uncle was in the Navy. I had another uncle in the Air Force. It was an expectation. I'll put it that way. It was a family thing, right? As the only boy in the family, that was kind of it was expected of me to do. I appreciated the discipline as far as the self-discipline, being able to do things on my own, clean up after myself, things like that. Just what I look at as kind of normal direction. I appreciated that, and I appreciated the patriotism and those things. But I'm not, look at me and tell I'm not a military guy. It's just not in my makeup. I was never one to blindly follow orders for anything. If I had a question, I would ask, and if I was told it's because I said so, I would rebel. So that kind of put a strain there on that family dynamic. I'll put it that way. I was not going to meet the expectation. I'll put it that way. That's just kind of how it was. It was really, I think, my father's influence, and I don't by any means want this to demonize my parents or my family or anything. I don't have a relationship with them now, but I do not want this to be, I don't want to sound like I'm talking bad about them. My parents and my family did the best they could with what they had, just like anybody else. I'm not bitter, I'm not mad. I was for a long time. We'll talk about that later, but when my dad found out I was left-handed, that's when it started. And I don't recall what age that was, but when I was trying to learn to write, sit here and write with your right hand until you do it right. And I was 6, 7, maybe around that time, but I remember that. That was when it started. It started super young, and then it was, I was in school. I was a huge math kid, right? Very good at math. I was getting dinged for not showing my work because I could do it in my head. I didn't take notes in class because I remembered what they taught me. And I got in trouble for that. for being smart. And I was punished at home for that because they wouldn't pass me unless I did what everyone else was going to do. And I think that's what really solidified it for me. I was like, I'm never going in the military. I'm just not. I just won't do it. You can't make me. Like, that was always my attitude, is like, I'm not going to do something I don't agree with. And to me, working smarter was better than working harder. And it's followed me into my adult life, and it's actually made me very successful, in that realm. That's kind of where it started. And it continued through high school. You're going to dress this way. You're going to fit in with these people. This is what your life's going to be like. And it just wasn't. That's not me, man. So my parents divorced when I was 10. And being the good little guy that I was, I'm like, cool, I can do this. I can do this. I can fix this. I'll live with my mom for 4 years, and I'll live with my dad for 4 years. That way it's even, everyone's happy, there's no conflict. Why does a 10-year-old think that way? That's another story. But I lived with my mom for 4 years. No problem. My mother was very supportive, very loving, I was kind of her rock, which there's history there as well. It leads to a whole nother dynamic. But I decided I was going to go live with my dad the last 4 years. I was going to finish high school. I was going to do, use I needed that male influence in my life. And then that lasted a year. As long as you live in my house, you're going to do this. So I left. That was scary. It was very scary. I've always had the ability to pretty much get along with anybody, so I knew I could find help somewhere, somehow. I didn't have very many friends in high school. I was kind of a nerd, contacted a friend, ended up linking up with another guy, ended up finding a place to stay, just under the radar, kind of, these weren't good people. But it was my choice and my decision, and I was comfortable with that. So the ambition was to be important to somebody, and to give what I didn't have. It was, I view money as a means of control. It's always been, because that's how society works. If you do something bad, you're fined, or they take away your freedom. If you want to live, you need to pay. If you want to eat, you need to pay. If you want to do anything, it's all a measure of control. And it was used like that by my family as well. So it was, I want to have control over that so that I can give it freely to people who need it, want it, or I can help make their lives better. It was never about me. I've had some material objects in my life that I've loved, but I've never been too attached, because I know everything's temporary. Even as a young age, I knew everything was temporary. And I think that's why I wasn't afraid to make those moves. I just knew that it's this world is this world, and there's another aspect to it that I wasn't privy on. But at the time, it really became, I met a woman very much older than me. As I said, a lot of the people I involved myself with were not good people. She was 13 years older than me. I was 18 and she was 31. She knew better than that. But we got married and had a kid, and she had 2 kids from a previous marriage, and now I'm responsible, so I'm gonna go to work. And when I applied myself, I became a leader in different industries: restaurants, logistics, retail. I did a lot of different things. I tried my hand at extermination. I did that for about a year. I tried doing repair work, carpentry underneath houses and stuff. I did construction. I've done all of it, because it's like, I didn't know where my home was. I didn't know what my purpose was. I knew I was good at just about anything that I really put my mind to. But finding purpose didn't hit me until about a year ago. So we'll get into that too. But it was play the game, provide for your family. I did that. I ended up divorcing and stuff, and that's part of the drug story. But then I went to my passion, which was music, and I did it. It was like, it's only me. I don't have to support anybody. I don't have to be anything for anybody. I have my son, but he loves me how I am, and I can provide for him. But the rest of it, I'll give everything to him. I'll just keep a roof over my head, and I'll do what I love. And I did that for a while. And then I fell in love, the real kind of love this time. And it was almost the same situation. It was a divorced mom with an older daughter, younger son, around the same age as my son. So it was moving into a family type atmosphere, a ready built family. So then it's okay, well now I gotta go back and do what I did before. I need to go provide. So I did go become an operations manager for a very large company. And to do that is not easy, but without a college degree especially, you just can't. I did. I want to be happy, and I want the people around me to be happy. That's it. That's all it ever was. I want to help somebody. I want to do something for someone to make their life better. That's what it always was. There was ego attached to that back then. I want to be important. I want people to count on me, rely on me, but I wanted it on my terms. And that was my motivation. Back into my martyrdom, because it's what it became. For approval, I was never honest about my feelings with other people. I would love someone until I would resent them, because I would never tell them what they did that I didn't like, because I felt like that would be immediate rejection. So I kept a lot of stuff inside. I never really dealt with it. I didn't have the courage to speak out because I feared them leaving or ditching me, kick me out, whatever. You're on your own, and I had a family, and it felt great. I hurt myself at work. I hurt my back being the overachiever, going to fix. I was working for a bread company, I'll put it that way. They do cafes and stuff like that around the country, and I was a baker. Hurt my back undoing a hook from one of the industrial mixers, mixing dough, strained almost the entire side of my back. Legit, was hurt, out of work, physical therapy, all that. And it started there with the pain pills. As soon as I had that, it was like, I remember that moment of, man, I could feel like this the rest of my life. I remember that exact term came across my mind. And I was like, this is great. I have energy, I'm happy, people around me are happy, this is great. It was filled a void. It filled the void for me. And it led down a very dark road, but that's where it began. The first time was pain pills. I was avid user, stole, did all kinds of dumb stuff for that addiction. And it was when I was taking 10 milligram Percocets at a time just to be able to go to work. Popped 10 pain pills in my mouth and was almost out and said, I remember saying this, God, take me or help me. I'm tired. I'm just tired. That's what changed it. I had a lot of help. I went to rehab. My mom worked for a rehab group. She did a lot of the medical coding, was able to get me in on a scholarship. I went to the meetings. I did that. I dropped into that culture and I took it just like I took everything else, and I took off. It was great, and it fed my ego. And I was like, I'm cured. And I followed the same pattern, this time with someone I really loved. And just so happened that alcohol was a factor in that. And I was like, alcohol's never been a thing for me. I don't have to worry about that. I'm over it. I'm cured. but I wanted to be part of. I wanted to be a part of that. And so I started teasing the idea of having a beer, and even used my intellect to get people to agree with me that that was a good idea. Then I felt justified. Then I started drinking. And it started casual, as always, like any addiction. And then it became a necessity. It became, I had enough control to say, I'm not going to drink when I go to work. I'm not going to, but my life was based around being home by 4 p.m. so that I could drink myself into oblivion every day. And weekends, sometimes 2 cases of beer on a day. 36 beer, just drinking, passing out, waking up, drinking, passing out, waking up, drinking. That was my weekend. And what happened this time, this was a year ago, a little over a year, just about a year ago, actually. I was following some stuff on the election. I was, just doing normal stuff, drinking, and there was a moment that I was sitting alone in the garage, kind of obsessing over the politics, just kind of getting sucked into that zone. I remember scrolling through Facebook. I'll never forget this. Scrolling through Facebook, and I never look at tarot stuff, readings, and people do readings on there and shit. I always looked at that and been like, that's so stupid. How can you read for a screen, And some reason I clicked on a short, and this tarot reader was pulling cards, looked into the camera and said, honey, your dues are paid. As soon as that happened, the divine touched me right here. I felt my heart completely open. It took my breath away. And it said, you need to get out of here. You need to go heal. And I left everything. Didn't say anything. Didn't tell my wife. Didn't say anything to the kids. I mean, they're grown now, but I didn't say anything. I left. I walked away. I walked over a mile, and then started, I called the cops on myself. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm afraid I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die. And I said, I just know I need to get out of here. Lock me up, put me in I don't care what you do. I just need to make sure I'm safe. And they took me to a park, told me just, they can't help me. They're not a taxi service. They're, took me to a park and said, as long as you're peaceful here, you're fine. I did that, and I ended up walking around and called a buddy, and he gave me some refuge. He was my light in the storm for a few months, and never closed that gap with my wife. Just it was just a mess. I needed to get my mind right. I needed to get my head together, and God saw to that, put us back together, healed that aspect, and everything's just gotten better. It's led me here, led me to you. I've always lost relationships. Relationships have always been temporary. People have fallen off in my life, and I've left people in my life that just knew it was time to move on. I've never had a lot of friends. People like me, and I like people. Just don't trust people. You know what I mean? And I think, it's a lot of that had to do with me. I wasn't honest about how I felt with other people. I was some, but I wasn't. The stuff that would be would maybe offend their sensibilities or make them think that I disapproved of something. Any kind of criticism, or I don't like that. It just didn't make me feel right when you did that, or I didn't like how you said that to me. I would never say those things. So in reflection, I look at it. I didn't trust people because I wasn't trustworthy. I couldn't commit to a relationship how it needed to be, a real human relationship. I got as close as I could, and then it would destroy itself somehow. Getting honest, it's as far as the dreams go, it was always, I want to be a famous musician. And I had my heyday locally, and then it was like, you know what, I don't want to be super famous. I would much rather sleep in my own bed every night, because I got a taste of that, going, playing far away and sleeping, riding in a car forever and stuff. I got a little bit of that, and I didn't like that. So as far as like dreams, that was my main one. My main one was I just want to be loved. I want to be secure with other people, yeah, addiction took all that away. The reason I came here, I'll say God, because it's the most used term. My beliefs, I don't ask anybody to believe like I believe. I don't. I just know what works for me and what I've been shown and how I've been led. So, old medicine man, old ancient knowledge, that old stuff, all knew and all taught about healing yourself, and that you can see the problem in other people because you're projecting that. That's a lot of psychologists. Dude, I've done a lot of this stuff, but you can't recognize it until you can get your mind right. Getting control of your own mind is super important. And it's funny because now that I've said that to you, you have that thought, you'll look at things and you'll see it. It's everywhere. I've never not known there's a God. I did a lot of that searching and research as a kid when I was looking for something. I left home, and some of the friends I got, they were into conspiracy theories and aliens and stuff like that. I started looking into religions and occult writing and, stuff Nikola Tesla used to write, unseen forces and things we don't understand and we can't perceive conceptually. It led me into mathematics and science, quantum physics. I found God in science, actually. I felt God that day. First time I felt the presence of the divine touch me and tell me to do something. I found proof of God in science, quantum physics, and mathematics. Society is sick. And I saw this, and it's not my quote. I don't want to be quoted as it, but I do want to say it. It's the most radical act in a sick society is to heal yourself and help others heal as gently as possible. And that's what I feel like I'm supposed to do. When I was in rehab and I got 5 years of sobriety, I dove deep. I went into the program. I worked the steps. I did all that stuff, right? And really felt great. I was sponsoring guys, I was helping people heal. And I felt whole doing that. And then I felt like I was strong enough to go out and do it on my own. And I realized I'm not, because it sucked me right back in. So now, with the moment that God touched me there, it changed. It changed my perspective, and I realized that the life is nothing but a game of perspective. That's all it is. You see it this way because that's what you're taught. You're either intelligent enough to change your thinking when you're presented with new information, or you will hold on to ignorance and choose to stay there and find comfort there. That's just kind of how people are. And I don't know if there's some mental thing behind it. I tell people I'm insane all the time because I just do stuff because I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm gonna do it. And because I feel compelled to, I feel God's telling me to, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna ask permission. You're either on board or you're not. That's kind of where I'm at now, When God touched me at that time and I really became aware of the perceptions, it's all about perspective. How do you do that? What thoughts and what processes go involved in to be able to change that for somebody? And that's when I overcame alcohol. When God showed me, I realized it's like I'm looking at this all wrong. And it wasn't. And I looked at the tattoos that I've gotten over my life. I got them because my dad didn't want me to get them. Was the main reason. 2, you can't judge a book by its cover. 3, I liked it. And 4, people left me alone. And the people that I couldn't trust usually wouldn't even talk to me because I looked intimidating. I'm the nicest guy ever, dude. I'm a man of peace. I'm just not violent. I'm not mean. I've never, intentionally tried to hurt anybody, really. It's never been that way. I think when I looked at the tattoos after my awakening, I'm trying to remember the point I was trying to make. I looked at them all, and I can understand how they all connect. They all mean something about my faith, and I never knew that. I just got stuff. But when I was able to shift my perspective to that godly kind of thinking, that I don't want to call it religious because it's not. It's ancient. It's older than that. But it's almost like I remembered something. And I looked and I'm like, God, I've marked myself for it. Everything on me is part of that, part of my understanding of God. Then it's like, well, that's your purpose, dude. It was never to be famous in front of people on a stage and entertain. I mean, yeah, you can do that. You're good at it, but you're good at anything you do. I mean, it's just the way it is. I've really, really applied myself. I can do whatever I want. Everyone's like that. No one encourages us to be that way. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's what God wants me to do. I just feel compelled to be here for someone that's struggling. Help them learn meditation and simple stuff like that just to get clarity so that you can change your perspective. Once that clarity's there, it really was a shift of in my mind. I don't really else know how to explain that, but I guess right now what I'm doing is I'm doing what I feel God is telling me to do. I believe butterflies that fly past are a sign. I believe seeing your video to make this video was a sign. This is a condo, dude. I don't have anywhere to live. I'm not working here, but we moved here. I'm paid up through end of next month, or middle of next month. I don't know where I'm going. I have a bad credit score. I've never played the game. I just didn't do it. I never owned a home. It's just always been this thing. And God said, this is what you need to do. Go share your story. Go be that. Be there. Be that rock for someone when they need help. And it's been a challenge, I think, the most, because it's in my nature to want to approach people and say, I can help you. That's not how it works. All I can do is live the best I can for God. And the right people will come, the law of attraction. That's how it works. They come. Those who need it will show up. I'm gonna be honest, and you can use it or not, I don't know. I know I can offend some delicate sensibilities of the way the world has been taught. I believe, my beliefs are that God is everything. There's nothing else for anything to be made from, because God is everything. That includes a piece of me and a piece of you. So, did God forgive me? Did I forgive me? Or is that the same thing? And all I know is when I turned inward, when I loved me and gave myself the love I was always looking for, it awoke a completely different reality. I like to believe that loving myself and treating myself well is pleasing to Him, because it's done nothing but create blessings in my life. I'm a follower of Christ. Again, like I said, I don't want to delve too deep, and you can cut and paste where you want. I don't want to cause this to be some weird thing. I follow the teachings of Christ, not religion. And if you do your homework, there's a big difference. So I'm just doing what I feel like I'm called to do. My life, that man died. I'll put it that way. My life is completely different. I'm a different person. I have the experiences that the old guy had. I have all those memories. I have the lessons. But yeah, like how I treat people, my values and morals are the same. They've always been do no harm, just be, try to help if you can, be of service if possible, and just try to be happy, right? That's always been, I've never tried to hurt anybody. I have inadvertently. The intent was never there, but I have inadvertently. It's changed my life completely. I changed myself with God's help, of course, or source, whatever, universe, whatever you want to call it. I had to go inward. I had to do some work. And luckily I had the framework because I already kind of experienced that going through rehab. So I had kind of an idea of how to peer into the darkness. But without that darkness, I'd never understand the light. I know that. It was necessary. It was just like I believe that all of us have those lessons we have to learn. We do the same things and repeat the same cycles until we figure it out. My life is a testament to that. I went into addiction, or I got with a woman who had kids and stuff. I tried to be the hero, I guess. Ended up falling down. Got myself back up, did it again. Tried to be the hero, ended up falling down. Now I got myself back up. Now I am the hero because I know I'm on a mission now. I have a purpose. I know what that is. I can feel it. And it's just to be here. It's just to be here, be peaceful, and be present. And I didn't know peace until I did that work. And a lot of that circles around meditation. The brain is so wired now to be worried about the future or dwelling on the past, never living in the moment. If a screen isn't telling you what you should and shouldn't be afraid of, then a job is telling you that you don't have enough money, or society's telling you don't have enough money to survive. And if it's not that, it's, man, I wish I could have done this, or man, I should have done that. It feels like I was programmed, like we've all been programmed to be constantly not in the present moment, engulfed in time. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. That's a mindset. It's where most people live. Until you can quiet that, there's no way to look at anything real. It's all distorted, and we project that, and we see it. If I wake up, and I figured this out, if I wake up in fear, then everything I see scares me. If I wake up with God, and I have a routine I have to do every morning, it's a little about a half hour, there's a meditation routine, I do the same things every day. If I don't have a good day. I don't have control of my mind. Once I have that under control and it's calm to where I can turn everything off in the quiet and sit by myself, that's peace. Most people can't sit in the silence because they can't be alone with their own thoughts. So it was when I turned everything off and was able to sit silently for more than 30 seconds, I'm like, this is cool. And practice makes perfect, so it just gets better and better as I keep doing it. That's what I want to give people, man. All I want is, like, it ain't about my beliefs. Like, everyone's gonna come back to spirit. Whether you see this as a Christian and you hate me, you're gonna go pray about it. Whether you come to me and you're like, I want to learn how to meditate so I can have a relationship with God, or a relationship with spirit, source, Odin, I don't care what you call it. We all argue over the name, but it's the same thing. If you can get your mind under control and you can quiet the inner self, then you can start exploring, how does this world work? Because I never stopped. I never stopped working long enough. I never stopped needing or wanting long enough to say, how do I create what I really want? And waking up with the woman I love, no arguments, no noise, just a cup of coffee, some incense, and meditation. I love that. I mean, that's peace to me. I'm able to keep it throughout the day. I don't have a relationship with my blood family. I've tried since I left at 15 a couple of times, different times. When my son was born, and later in life when I met, I don't remember if this is my wife now, if I ever took her up there. I can't remember. I'm not sure. We just don't live the same, like we're not the same people. Like they're not my people, if that makes sense. Like everyone's got their people. Like I don't have friends. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of friends in the past. It's because of my trust issues. But family to me now is, my wife is my family. The kids are my family, but they're their own people. And if they don't agree, if we don't see eye to eye, that's fine. I have enough faith in you as a person. Go do whatever the hell you want. Go be successful. I know you can. You know, I think that's where a lot of parents kind of lose themselves, at least maybe now, or at least that's my perception of it, is it's how it happened to me. I was like, I'm there for my kids no matter what. I'll be there forever. I'll always be there and be in your life and part of your life and make sure that you're taken care of. And that's unrealistic. I can't do that. That's martyrdom. That's sacrificing myself for the life of another when I have my own life to live. You know, I love everyone. I always have. I love people in general. It's just, they're just misguided. And even sometimes family can be the same way. So I guess, and the way I live now is kind of in the quantum. And what I mean by that is one moment at a time. If you follow quantum physics or understand that, it means that all realities are here at the same time, and it's the decisions that move us through this reality. And you can move multiple times. Some people say it's billions of times a second. I can't prove that. I don't know if that's true. I do know there are other dimensions. I know there are other possibilities. I do know that exists based on quantum physics and string theory. I understand that. There's quantum computing. If you pay attention to technology, that's where the financial system is going, is with quantum computing, so that it's instantaneous entanglement. They utilize, anyway, sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole. But, you know, so family to me now is who's around me, who's attracted this way, who comes toward my energy. When I put myself authentically out there, as wild and crazy as I am, as insane as my thinking is, somebody's going to respond to it. Whoever comes and says, hey, can we talk? Hey, can you help me? Or hey, I think I can help you, or I can teach you something. That's family. It's all family. You know, my wife's like I call her my twin flame. I really do believe somewhere in the soul realm that we're connected somehow, because she's the only person I've ever been to completely be myself around. And she accepts me for who I am. And she's my family. She's my home. Wherever she is home to me. I don't care if it's a roof or whatever, but as far as family, it's like, it's day by day, minute by minute. It's who's around me, who's a positive impact. It's the ones that you can feel it, the ones that just, you can tell who you just don't need to be around. That's not family. Everyone else on a soul level to me is family. Blood family, it's just, they're there for a reason and they serve their purpose. Sometimes they're there for a lifetime, sometimes they're not. But either way, there's family around all the time. Honestly, there's a cure, and it's self-love. Once you start that, the love that hole that we all have, all the addicts, all the alcoholics have that hole. It's emptiness. They don't know what to put there, so they try to fill it with something outside of themselves. God's always there, and start taking care of yourself, the soul that He created, the body that you inhabit. You know, when you look at it like that, it's kind of a slap in the face to just poison that thing, you know, to poison the entire experience. Again, it's a game of perception. But if you can put it down long enough to start really taking care of yourself and investing in you, it goes away. It really does. Redemption now for me is just being better in general, just being better to people and to me. I've always been nice to people. I've always understood people. I've always been that shoulder or that rock, you know. It's in my nature to be like that. Some people call it empath, you know, some people call it all kinds of different things. You call it whatever you want, but I've felt that, and I don't want others to feel that. I know what that feels like. So I guess redemption at this point is, if I can love and take care of me while loving and taking care of those around me, that seems to kind of cancel it out. I mean, karma exists. I have my karma. I've lived through it. No one's been meaner to me than me. No one has tortured me more than me. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people have to understand is the battle of heaven and hell, or a big part of it's inside of you. A lot of people like to blame external influences. Again, this is why I was like, I don't want to demonize my family. My family, I love them still. I just love them over there, you know. I guess redemption, yeah, it really does. I think it comes down that for me. So redemption for me, and you can cut and paste however you want, but redemption for me now is loving myself enough to do everything, do all the good works that I was doing before, but include me in the process. I think that's really what it is, because it's okay to love you. It's okay. You know, it's this whole mentality of you got to be for other people. You got to think about other people. No, fuck, you don't. We're all capable. It's just we've been taught we're not. All right. It's just not a popular answer. The world is changing right in front of our eyes, and a lot of people are too distracted to see it. This is the end of an age. There's a lot of truth being shown right now. There's been a lot of darkness, and it's all coming to the light. Some people would read the Bible and call that revelations. Some people would look at older timelines and call that Kali Yuga. Depends on your belief system. But I can tell you for sure, the world is already changed. We just can't see it all yet. And I believe I incarnated at this time to help with that process. I believe that I'm put here to help people understand how to reach that calmness and be able to control their minds so that they can adapt to the new world. That's what I believe I'm here for. People put stigmas and names on things like that. I'll throw this in here, and like I say, again, you'll use your judgment as a cut and paste. The business name that I'm starting is called Starseed 9. A lot of people look at Starseed. Some know what that means, some don't. It's very popular right now on social media. A lot of people are saying, oh, I'm from this planet, and blah, blah, blah. It's an escapism thing. The Starseed belief is that extraterrestrials exist, and a lot of people will still buck that, even though the government and Congress has already said they do, and they live in the ocean. Go look that up, don't take my word for it. Extraterrestrials do exist, and those were created by God as well, and they have souls too. Some people believe in reincarnation, others don't, but starseeds believe that they've lived a full life, they've mastered life somewhere else first, then they came here to spread wisdom. Do I believe I'm a starseed? Part of me does. Can I prove it? No. Do I care to prove it? No. But I do believe that I'm here and was called at this time and went through everything I went through to have the experience, strength, and hope to give to other people as the world goes through such an amazing change, and it's coming very quickly. So music was my outlet for years. It was how I expressed my distaste and anger because people liked it. So I didn't tell you, man, I really hate you did that. That sucked. And my experience was awful for it. I didn't do that. I wrote about it, and I wrote about it metaphorically, um, allegorically in music. And I was big into like rock and metal, like got into some real heavy screaming stuff and learned how to do that and really took it out in my music so that I didn't have to live it. But it only lasted so long before I had to face myself. But music has been an outlet for me. There's been times where I've spent 3 days writing a song. There have been times where I've come up with entire songs in 10 minutes. And it's all based on a level of inspiration or whatever. But music has been a huge part of how I met my wife. It's vibration. I mean, that's a big part of my faith too, energy and vibration. I mean, a lot of that stuff, you look at it, but it's, I utilize that negative experiences and try to turn it into something positive, turn it into art. Some people call it alchemy. You know, there's lots of different terms for it, but that's something I've always been able to do. So I didn't have to take it out on anybody. I would let it out in my music, and everything's cool as long as I'm playing and performing. But if I'm not performing and I'm not expressing it to someone face to face, the negativity comes inside and eats me alive. Not anymore, but that's what music used to be for me. And after this awakening, I was like, I'm never doing music again, because it was a way to focus negativity. I don't have that anymore. So I'm like, how am I going to write music if I don't have inspiration? And my only inspiration has ever been darkness. I am talking, there's another spiritual guy I met here who we kind of have the same belief structure. His is a little different, but he's a very, very talented musician. I'm going to try. Like I said, the right people will show up at the right time. So I'm going to try and get in there and see if I can express the light the same way that I express the darkness. And we'll see. God is everything, right? All that is. So there's a piece of God in me, and God is a creator. That's what we should be doing, not working 9 to 5. So yes, my beliefs and my faith, my knowing, is faith is confidence and knowledge to me. It's the combination of the two. It's knowledge that you know and confident about. You know it's true. And it's really, really hard to come up with nowadays. You know, deep in your core it's true. That's faith to me. Like one of the great, an old guy used to tell me this. He's like, belief and faith are two different things. He's like, if I stretch a tightrope across Niagara Falls and I carry a wheelbarrow across that back and forth, you believe I can do that again? And I said, yes. And he said, get in the wheelbarrow. That's faith. So yes, I believe that my faith is tied to creativity now. It's just a different type of creation for me. I've written that song. It's called One More Ride. And whether that be, it was based on addiction, struggling with addiction. Slip away for one more ride. That was the main line in the song, or the hook. And now I look at it, and it doesn't have to be a toxic thing. It's all about experience. It's what life is, right? That's why I believe we were created, was to experience different things for God. So, hell, I mean, yeah, every experience I get is it's one more ride. I don't know, and I could die tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, there's no telling. There's no time limit. Everyone's like, oh, you should live like you're dying. You should do that every day, man. And if you do, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to go one more ride, man. I'm going to go try this. I'm going to go do this and see if it... My beliefs is that God is a way more powerful being than we even can comprehend, that our little human brains can wrap around. And I really believe that that kind of power is available inside of us if we follow along with what Christ taught. If you follow Christ's teachings, all it does is open up an amazing perspective, an amazing world, and you realize how powerful you really are here. We've been made to feel small by design. That's coming out. You'll see that more and more through traditional sources, news, and things like that. You'll come to understand this is all by design. I'm here to fuck that up, and you should too. You're strong enough. You're powerful enough. You're worth it, and it's your life, and you can create whatever you want. And I want people to be empowered. I want them to be inspired. That's what I want. I want rebels. I want to create leaders. It's another thing I wanted to say, and you can utilize it however you feel, but you know, when I was describing the starseed thing, right? A lot of people are like, oh, it's a cult. Cults require leaders to want followers. I don't want followers. I want to create leaders. I want to create creators. I want to see how this new generation is going to be raised. I want to see what they make in a world where AI does all the jobs, and we, you know, money works for us instead of against us. That's where we're headed. I can see it. You know, the future, the golden age is about to start. And people keep throwing that term around and think it's political. It's not. This is tied to occultism and Kali Yuga and revelations. It's all tied together. We're here at this time. The golden age is upon us. I am so excited to see what this next generation is going to accomplish. I can't wait to see the medical breakthroughs, the technological breakthroughs. And you're either going to get sucked into that technocratic control, or you're going to look at this and you're going to say, you know what, I don't have to do that. What they say doesn't define me. God knows who I am. I am who I am. I am authentically who I am, because if God didn't think that I needed to be here as who I am, he wouldn't have put me here. There's a reason. There's a reason you're here too. Just love yourself and have the best experience possible. That's all you can do with life. I hope it does empower people. I really do. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'd like to thank anybody that's watching that took the time to try to understand. We don't do that enough in the world, and I hope at least I have open eyes enough to do that. Just, it's all anybody needs. It's just try to understand.
Thank you for spending time with Scott today. If you're still here, respect. That tells me you're fighting something too. Scott has said many things that probably stuck with us. So, if this is you, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not alone. This space, this channel, it's for real stories. No filters, no polished endings, just people who've been through the fire and somehow are still here. If this story moved you, or you've got a journey of your own to share, drop a comment. You never know who might need to hear your story next. Scott, thank you for your honesty, your courage. I'm Rennie. We'll see you in the next story. And always remember, be a cruiser, not a crotch rocket. Build your legacy. Boom.